So I just wanted to talk about dream interpretation. Now, there are many dream dictionaries out there, and they are all rubbish. None of them tell you how to interpret dreams for real. And that's what I'm going to teach you here. So there's a theory of dreaming, the expectation fulfillment theory of dreaming. And what it says is that dreaming is unfulfilled expectations. So if, say for example, you have an argument with your partner and you conclude the argument and you go to bed, doesn't matter how emotional the argument was or anything like that, you won't dream about the argument because the argument was resolved. Whereas if you had the argument with your partner and one or the other of you stormed off so it never got resolved, then that pattern in the brain is left open. It hasn't been closed yet. So what the brain does is during sleep, when you're dreaming, your brain closes these patterns. The same with worrying. So when you worry, I don't know I think so-and-so probably hates me and this person thinks that, and what if that goes wrong, and what if this goes wrong, and you're worrying about things, and none of these worries are being resolved. So you're not actually having a resolution. Because there's no resolution, you dream about these worries. For unresolved things, so worrying, for example, and where you're thinking about things you just haven't had a resolution to, like where, right, I've got to do this, and this, and then you don't do it all, and you've been thinking, I've got to do these things. So especially emotional, arousing things. So it could be good emotions or bad emotions. What happens is you then dream about those things. So your dreams, or anyone's dreams, are based on what took place during that day that the dream occurred. So say it's a Monday, then what you dream Monday night will be linked to what took place during Monday. And it will be metaphorical. And everything in it will be metaphorical. And if something, so say for example, I had a dream and there was a character in it that looked like me. If it looked like me, and it probably wasn't me, it probably represented something. If it looked like me but perhaps was slimmer, or was younger, or anything like that, then because it's a metaphorical representation of me, it's not the real me, it's a slimmer version, it's a fatter version, it's a taller version, shorter version, whatever it happens to be. It's not really me, it's a representation, then that could well be me. If I just have this instinctive feeling, that's me. The one exception seems to be that if you happen to have an instinctive feeling that you know it is you, but you can't see them, so they're not physically in the dream, you're seeing it as if through their own eyes, or you're hearing their voice but you can't see them, then it probably is that person. But if you see the person, so if you saw a friend or something in the dream and they looked 100% like they do in real life, then that friend probably isn't that friend in the dream, they probably represent something else. So dreams predominantly will be entirely metaphorical, apart from these exceptions. So when you know this, it means that everyone loves telling you dreams. I find this as a therapist. People just love telling you dreams, and they don't realise how much they're giving away. So, for example, someone who had lost a number of work colleagues from their work had told me this dream about a goldfish bowl, and how they'd had this really weird dream. There's a goldfish bowl, there's a cats, these fat cats were getting to the goldfish bowl, and they put their paws in, they flicked out the fish, and they flicked all the fish out everywhere, and there's just one or two fish left in, and the fish were then chopped open and they were hollow, and the goldfish bowl was left with just one lonely fish left in there. And what had happened was that all these staff had been sacked by the bosses, so the fat cats, and their workplace ended up feeling empty and feeling like they were on their own all of a sudden, and it felt like a very lonely place. So the way to know what it related to, so I could work out that related to that work situation. Another situation was an employer who had to make some tough decisions financially within a company, and he spoke about how he'd got this dream where he was up a mountain and he really didn't want to look back, and then when he eventually did look back, there was a cloud covering, so he couldn't see below the clouds, and he didn't like the idea of going below the clouds and seeing below the clouds, and he had to make decisions over whether to sack staff and all these sort of financial decisions that were horrible decisions for him to have to make, and his dream represented that. And so when you know this, people tell you their dreams, and you know, right, this is what they're thinking, this is the kind of thing it's likely to be. And for your own dreams, you can then interpret those, because you can think, what is this relating to from yesterday? And the way to find it out is to follow the feelings. So the feelings are the key thing. So you say to somebody, so what feelings did you have during that dream? And the feelings will be significantly enhanced. So if someone says, I felt really angry, they may have just been mildly annoyed for the real situation. But the feelings will be the important thing. So you follow the feelings and find a lower version, a weaker version of those feelings from their daily life. So when Big Brother, the TV show, used to be on TV, on the internet, regularly, so they used to stream it live all the time. I used to watch that because then you'd see the footage in real time, and it was like 10-minute delay or something, so they would edit bits where people swore and things like that. But what you could see was when people would suddenly start talking about their dreams, and if you're watching it all the time, so I was at that point, I was writing a book, Psychology of Big Brother, so I was watching it a lot, and if you're watching it all the time, you start to notice that, oh yeah, I remember seeing that happen yesterday, and now I know, having you told me, you've mentioned your dream the next day, now I know what you were thinking at that point then. I know you fancy that person and you were wondering about it and gave it lots of thought, but because you've got cameras on you and everything, you didn't want to act on those feelings. So you can start to interpret the real meaning of dreams. It isn't about if you see a ship it means this, or if you're flying it means that. It's about everyone has their own unique dream experience, but you follow the feelings, you figure out when the feelings occurred in real life. And there are some things that are quite common. So people saying pain in the neck as a phrase that's common may end up dreaming about something to do with the pain in the neck when it's to do with, say, a partner or something. People talking about fat cats, like the example I gave, may dream about fat cats to mean their employers or the management of the companies. So there are some key metaphors in our language which people just dream about those metaphors. And the key thing though is follow the feelings, find the feeling. So if a friend says, I had this really weird dream, let them tell you the dream and then ask them, so what were you feeling during that dream? What feelings were there? And just get to the bottom of those feelings. And if you know that person closely, you'll probably know what the problem, what it's relating to, what unresolved thing is going on for them. Whether it's, for example, people that are entrepreneurs could have lots of unresolved patterns. So their dreams could be like adventurous, exciting dreams, because they come up with all these exciting ideas and then never materialise half of them. And so their dreams would be metaphors of those exciting ideas that never materialise, as the brain's way of trying to close down those patterns. Whereas someone with depression or anxiety may think about lots and lots of negative stuff that makes them feel bad that they don't resolve. So then they may have a lot more negative dreams and dreams with anxiety and anger and things like that in them. So you follow the feelings. If you know the person, you can probably work it out really easily. I generally try not to tell people I've figured out what their dream is likely to mean, and I just treat it, and like with clients as well, and I just treat it as extra information I now know that they've not overtly revealed to me. And so that's how you interpret dreams. Follow the feelings, find out what the feelings were related to from the previous day. So the dream will mean what happened the previous day. It will be directly linked to that. If you find this interesting, or you want to share your dreams below, just write them in the comments below if you want to share them below. If you find this interesting, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to share potential dreams followed by your interpretations to those dreams, then share those below. Always interested to hear people's weird and wonderful dreams and what you think it was related to from your life or from the life of whoever you've interpreted the dream of. And if you think anyone else would be interested, obviously just share this with them and let them have a go at dream interpretation.